get
Yeah.
into it. The Shin Ultraman
Review.
review. This is our main event.
Yeah, main event. So we're just gonna talk about the movie in general, and then we might start getting into some spoilery territory. We'll let you know though when we're gonna start talking about plot points, though. So I would say, in my opinion, overall, pretty happy with the movie. I think if you compare it to Shin Godzilla, I think this would be more well received by people. I know obviously this has been seen by less people because it didn't have the wider release and it hasn't been out on Blu-ray yet. So a lot of people haven't seen it yet. But I think a lot of the talking points of that movie that people didn't like, which again, it's the same fickle nature with Godzilla Earth. It's like, what do you want, people? Do you want political or do you want Godzilla fighting things? You have to make up your mind. It's kind of resolved in this movie because it's such a fast-paced movie. Basically, they fit 4 Ultraman episodes into a movie.
Yeah.
If you want to think of it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. With a Ultra Q intro.
Yes.
That,
Awesome.
oh, that intro is so good.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's available and been available online, so people should have seen
it's
that.
It's such a good intro. It's so good.
It was very nice to see it in theaters, though.
Yeah. It was, the whole movie was just, like I said, like you said, you break it down. It was like 4 episodes. And it was just like such a well done, like, Ultraman, like, story, and the way they carried each episode is how we say.
Yeah.
It was just perfect. It was just like chef's kiss. Like, oh.
Yeah. Mike, probably with not that I'm even complaining that much. My one gripe I'd say with it is that Shinji Kamagame, totally Kamenaga, that's the host for Ultraman in the movie. It was weird. He didn't act very human.
Yeah, they made him more alien than, like, it was weird, like the way, yeah.
Like, even though he was like the main character, he wasn't the main character though. The main character was Hiroko, the female lead.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah, she was. She seemed to be the main focus. Like, he kind of like, he disappears for chunks of the film, and I guess, like, if you look at the old episodes of Ultraman, not even just old episodes, there's pretty much all Ultraman. It's kind of like there's always a team, a defense team.
Yes.
And there's always the dude on the team that's the host for Ultraman, and then he disappears when everything's going on.
Yeah.
So I guess they kind of wanted to give us their point of view instead of being in his shoes from it.
Like I
That's
said,
how I would look at it.
Like I said, it wasn't a complaint. It was more of an observation about, like, he's not really the main character.
No,
Ultraman and the host of Ultraman really aren't the main characters. They're kind of there.
I didn't think about it that way until you just said it, but you're right. It's kind of like we get the team's point of view from this movie, which was still perfectly fine. It was awesome.
Yeah, no.
The chemistry was great.
Yeah, the
cast was awesome.
Yeah, it was a very small cast, but they all kind of worked together really well. Great chemistry. I think that like, one of the things about this movie was that it really, like, was about humanity as a whole.
Yes.
And, like, it was kind of almost like a redemption film, whereas, like, Shin Godzilla was just like, we're not going to get anything done, gears of government are rusted and all this stuff. This movie was like, we have a small group of people and they're doing something. Yes. And they're doing big things and they're helping out.
Yeah. And then the government was still screwing up in here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, we made a mistake. We sided with the alien. We didn't think this one out.
And we just keep making their same mistake over and over and over. And, like,
you played yourself
to the point where, like, the Science Patrol is just like, we're just gonna do our own thing.
Yes.
We're not gonna listen to you guys.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to add before we start getting into like spoilery? Did you have any opinions or anything like that?
Just the other thing that I really liked about, since we're talking about it, small cast, they worked really well together, and they just kept they actually managed to put quite a lot of humor into this movie too, which
Oh, it's a
is something that's always
funny
been
movie.
prevalent throughout Ultraman. Like, sometimes the episodes, they have some dark episodes. Ultra 7 was a much darker series in Ultraman, and then they kind of balance it out, and they always have a little comic relief. And this had a lot of comic relief. They had um, the main character, Hiroku, would get up and slap her on ass to kind of be like, go get him.
Yeah, yeah,
There
like
was one part where they're like, with the crew's being like held because they did something out of line, and one of the, I forgot what the other girl's name was, she's like binge eating snacks. Like, there's just like a table full of snacks because they were holding them in this room for.
it was kind of like the Transformers movie where the guy eats all the donuts.
Yes.
And he's like innocent people don't eat, guilty people don't eat the donuts.
Yeah, yeah.
It was kind of like that.
Yeah.
I'll fix it. You continue.
But yeah, great crew. The leader guy, Kimo Tamura, great. He played a great like science patrol captain type of guy, and it just really was like super nostalgia land with all the monsters they brought in and aliens. They pretty much showed you like a lot of guys you would want, a lot of monsters and aliens that you would want to see. There's a few that we didn't get to see, like Alien Balton. I would have liked to see. Red King's always popular.
Yeah,
I'm really hoping, because Shin Kamen Rider is the last announced entry for the Shin Universe series.
yeah.
I'm really hoping that they do an Ultra 7 series, or some other Ultra
Yeah.
like movie. They sort of left it open for there to be a sequel. It's not too spoilery, but I really hope that they do a sequel.
Yeah, they have to do something. They have to continue. I need another live action movie or something. I thought that in this series would be good. The weird thing with the Shin thing is they keep showing like the Evangelion. Are these anime Evangelion movies like Shin movies?
So the Rebuild series, Evangelion is just like super not straightforward. Like, it starts off simple. It's giant robots fighting alien monsters is what it starts off. And then the whole story gets like crazy, like complex, and all these subplots, and it's a little hard to follow. I don't know if I'm an idiot. I had to. The first time I finished watching the original series, I had to like just go online and like read like hours. So like I'm like, what did I just watch? Like, so basically the way the last Evangelion ends, the universe resets, and there's been speculation that like there's a reset universe is what the Shin universe is. But although I've heard that these movies, like Shin Godzilla and Shin Ultraman, Shin Kamen Rider, they're all supposed to be standalone, separate from each other, even though
But they
it's
all
a
have
universe,
the same
they're not
feel.
in the same universe.
They have like the same
Yes.
feel though.
Yes.
Like even if it's not like they're not like MCU movies where they're connected and everything. Like
Yeah,
you had your
they're not-
little Godzilla nod at the beginning of the movie,
Yeah.
just to say like, yeah, this is the thing.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I just feel weird if they just ended at Shin Kamen Rider.
I really do too. But I don't know what we're gonna get.
Like I don't think you can do a Shin Sentai. I don't think that
No.
works.
No, I don't think you can. It would be. I mean, it could if they did a really, really, really dark Sentai, maybe.
Yeah, or like a Gridman. I don't know.
No, yeah.
I feel like they already have a Gridman on lock with this SSS series, but it's like I feel like they have to do something more after this. I mean, if
I
it's,
really hope they do. I really, really hope they do. I don't
like,
care what it
maybe
is.
they can get Gamera. I don't know.
Maybe. I think with the whole Gamma thing, a lot's riding on the success of that Netflix series.
Yeah. It would be cool to get a sequel to Shin Godzilla 2. I know it's not going to happen, but like, even though I complained earlier about Ghidorah, the design for like what is it, on the pachinko machine or like a ride or something, they have a Shin Ghidorah. It is the best Ghidorah design I've ever seen. It looks amazing.
Yeah.
I would love to see that.
You never know.
But who knows? Yeah, who knows what they're gonna do? They're coming out with a new Godzilla movie next year anyway. So
Not even next year. It's like this year.
Is this year
for us? It'll probably be next year. I don't know.
I don't know. Godzilla's big enough that they might get a simultaneous release.
Yeah, it might be something. It's November. It's supposed to come out on Godzilla Day. So
we'll have to see. I know it's not going to be a sequel to Shin Godzilla, but
it's been it kept super, super, super hush hush, that movie.
Yeah,
I've heard rumors that it's going to be CGI. I don't know.
I'm assuming it's going to be CGI. I can't see them doing a practical effects Godzilla movie again.
Yeah.
Like you might get a maquette or something, but you're not going to get, a guy in a suit. That's done.
You never know. You can never say never.
Yeah.
But let's jump into spoilers now, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Let's just jump in. So, movie opens up. We get our Ultra Q, and it's really like the first 4 or 5 episodes of Ultra Q. The only difference is that they jump ahead on. Oh my god, I'm blanking on what's this seal type
Tequila?
Yeah, they kind of jump ahead for they do his entire story arc instead of just Antarctica.
Tokyo,
They
do that. They do the Gomez, the Lavrugus, I believe is the pronunciation. The bird that turns into the big white bird.
Yeah.
And that one's in Ultra Q. That bird's still out there flying around the Earth. So. And even, I don't know if they actually killed it. Did they kill that bird in this series? I don't know if they did.
No, I don't think. I think it's just flying.
Yeah.
It's just doing its own thing.
Yeah, I love the Ultra Q. It's so good. That's why that opening made me so happy.
Yeah, and the song is just...
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's like almost like a Twilight Zone type of song. That's what they were going for, but it's just an awesome song.
Yeah.
And then we roll into they're at the latest kaiju attack. He's invisible, attacking the power system. They really don't have anything that they could do. And then Ultraman shows up. And it's not your regular Ultraman. He's like got all black lines instead of red.
Yes.
So does the Specium Ray, kills the kaiju, flies off, and our main character gets killed saving somebody,
and we don't see that on screen until later in the movie. So Shinji Kaminaga, he sees a kid out there roaming the streets after the whole village has been evacuated. He's like, I'm gonna go help this kid. So he runs out there. When Ultraman lands, he creates like a big sonic wave, and he covers the kid to protect him from the blast, and like shrapnel from trees pretty much impales him and kills him, and the kid survives.
Yes. And
then Ultraman's like, oh man, I owe this guy solid. He saved the kid and I kind of killed him. It was my fault.
So he merges with him, but it's a much different merger than in the original Ultraman series, because in the Ultraman series, the human host kind of keeps their personality, and Ultraman's kind of in the driving seat when he's Ultraman.
Yes.
But in this one, it's kind of like Ultraman's always driving.
Yeah, he's kind of like, oh, humans do this. Like
he's
like,
trying to figure out what it's like to be human.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what this movie's about, is what is it to be human?
Yes.
But yeah, it's a very different take, and I think that's also kind of why like he's not the main character, because he's got like almost zero personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's still a really cool take, though.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and again, not complaining, just saying how I felt it was.
Yeah. And then it cuts to kind of like the next day, and it introduces what we call the main character, Hiroku Asami. She's like the new. She came from Central or something like that.
She's like a spy.
She was like a spy, yes. She's got spy friends. And she still uses those connections throughout, and she kind of already like did research on the whole team already, because she wants to show off that she's got spy connections. She was a good spy, all that. And of course, she says Shinji, she's got like nothing on him though.
Yeah.
So his past is kind of covered up. I'm assuming Ultraman kind of deleted that a little.
Yeah, because it's shown that he's got like the ability to like wipe.
Yeah.
Like human history and stuff like that. It's when we get our second kaiju, and they kind of make a crack, kind of a joke, where it's like, all these kaiju seem the same, and they just kind of like swap out the heads.
Yeah, because it's all the kaiju that were based off Baragon, and in the Ultra Q opening, they show one of the kaiju that was based on Baragon.
Yeah, so like they kind of like poke fun at like some of the older stuff as well with this series, and like one of the weird things that they did with it is they kept cutting to like a picture of the SSSP's like mascot, like a little plushie.
Yes.
You must have got that shot like 20 times at least.
I kind of want one of those too.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it's not like readily available. I'm sure you can buy it, but you got to import it.
Yeah. But this is where we get kind of like our first Ultraman, like real Ultraman fight.
Yeah.
Not just shooting a Specimen Ray and flying off.
Yeah. He fights, I believe that's Pagos? No, Pagos is the one that they show in the opening. I think that's Narunga's the electric one. And Gabora, yes, he fights Gabora. Gabora is the one that burrows. And this is one of the coolest kaiju redesigns. It's not so far changed from the original one from back in the day, but not only does it have this drill head, but it's got these two tails that also serve as drills, and just the motions of them and the way all these kaiju move in this movie is just incredible.
Yeah, no, I think people were worried with the trailer, but it comes off so good in the movie. It looks amazing.
And it also had cloaking abilities too, right? Didn't it have cloaking abilities like Naranga?
I don't know if this one did, but he burrowed. He was like a burrower.
Oh yes, yeah, he was a burrower.
And
this one was going for the fuel plant now. Last time Naranga was going for gas, this one's going for fuel.
Yes. Very similar, again, because they were kind of joking.
Was it fuel actually, or wasn't it like a nuclear?
Yeah, I think it was nuclear.
Yeah, it was nuclear. But it was pretty much like if it went off, it was going to be like a crazy Chernobyl situation.
Yeah, so the SSP is like right in front of the fight though, so instead of like just taking this guy out, Ultraman ends up tanking a lot of damage just because he doesn't want it to affect the SSP members, so he's like absorbing the radiation versus just letting it, like blocking it and letting it fly everywhere. So this is kind of where we get the alternate to the timer in this series, and that's like he loses his red color and it turns kind of green when he's low on power.
Yeah.
So but yeah, he basically just tanks all this damage. Specium, he uses the disc in this one, or does he use the ray again?
I think he used the ray again. Yeah.
So he uses the ray again, and unfortunately, that's it for kaiju in this movie.
Yeah.
Like I said, I would have liked Gamora, a Red King, one of like the bigger ones. That's like a classic kaiju that's always been coming back.
Yeah.
And they didn't do that in this one. Again, not a complaint, just it's the way it was.
They didn't go for fan service.
And it wouldn't really fit with the story very well either.
No,
if they did another one, because then it's like, you look
Later on, it makes sense
you look at the
why they
three
did it.
other stories in this, and it makes perfect sense why they didn't. It's just a fan service thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um. So, in our second act, uh, kind of very early into it, Ultraman gets kidnapped.
Yes, yes, he does.
So,
That's Zarab. Zarab kidnaps him.
yeah, and like, I'm like kind of like surprised that that's kind of like the way it went. Like, he just got kidnapped.
He gets kidnapped, and he leaves his
It was the
beta
beta
capsule
capsule.
with Hiroko, and Alien Zarab just outs him to the whole world. And I was like, yeah, this dude's Ultraman. He's a threat to the whole planet, and he's trying to paint him as the bad guy.
Yes.
And then
And also trying to paint the SSSP as like having this secret weapon.
Yes.
And like trying to like basically scare everybody to be like, oh, he has weapons. I could sell you the same weapon.
And did he get when did he get He got kidnapped, and then after he got kidnapped, they made Hiroku big, right?
No, that's the next story.
Oh, sorry.
So this one is Evil Ultraman.
Yes. Yeah, so yeah, he keeps showing up with Ultraman kidnapped. They think Ultraman's bad. And Zarab's like, oh, I could stop him, but it's really him that's attacking these cities. And he's trying to exploit all the country's defense forces and be like, yo, just, slide me a little power here. Let me make some decisions for your countries, and I'll give you some protection from Ultraman. But Hiroku thinks something's up. She ends up finding Shinji, thanks to her spy abilities and friends. And they free him. She gets him the beta capsule. He blows up just in time to fight Zarab posing as the fake Ultraman. And it's an awesome battle. They're flying through the sky, nighttime fight.
Yeah, I'd say this is probably the best fight in the movie.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think this and the Gabora fight would be my two favorites.
Yeah.
And fly through the sky. You get aerial scenes, and he defeats Zarab, of course, and then that's the end of episode 3. I guess you'll call it
2.
2.
Yeah.
2. Yeah. Oh yeah, 2.
And then probably my favorite part of the whole movie, and that's Nephilis.
My favorite.
And one of my favorite Earth sayings. It's basically become a meme. We watched the English dub, so I don't know how it is in the Japanese dub. I mean, it's only on for 2 nights. We only had one night to watch it. Tonight we were available, so
yeah, we couldn't make it for the sub night, so we watched the dub.
Yeah,
which was still fun.
It was great, but the voice acting for it was so good. And then it's just like the biggest meme in like the entire movie because they do it multiple times. But basically, what he does is he comes in and he's like, "Hey, I've recreated the technology that Ultraman has." So I can give you that technology so you can start making your own giant. This is the one where they kidnap Hiroki.
Yes, he kidnaps Hiroku, basically. Not necessarily kidnaps, but she borrows her.
Brainwashes her. And
he kind of puts her in like a stasis state and blows her up to Ultraman size. And he kind of like controls her. She does a little damage to the city. All the people on the ground take shots up her skirt with their camera phones.
That was another joke.
Yeah, so she becomes the big lady all over the internet, and she's like, I'm so embarrassed, I can't show my face anywhere. Everybody knows what I look like now. She's like, I used to be a spy, now the whole world knows who I am.
Yeah, but luckily Nephilis deletes everything online, so there's no record of it ever happening.
He's like, oh, I'm sorry about that. He's like, I didn't intend to damage your history.
Yeah. And, the actor that they got for him is really good. I believe he's been in other Ultraman series. And was he in Kamen Rider too?
I'm not sure.
I want
I'm
to.
only just getting into Kamen Rider, so I'm not too familiar with the veterans.
Yeah, but it's been it's been really he was honestly he's like the best part of the movie in my opinion. He
Uh,
was just the performance was amazing. The creepiness of it, the like almost he was almost like a better human than Ultraman was.
yes, yes, he appreciated all the human sayings.
Yes.
That was his thing. He loved like all these little quotes and nuances, and he'd be like, "Oh, one of my favorite sayings."
Yeah, and like one of the things that I thought was really good was this kind of like where they kind of get into like the main plot kind of the movie, and that's by fusing. He's revealed that humans are capable and compatible with the same technology that Nebula, people from Nebula M7 are. So they can kind of become indestructible and become these giant super weapons. And he's like, I can sell you that technology, but you have to make me leader of Earth. He goes,
Yes.
it's just a title. It's not a real.
Yeah.
I'm not going to wield any real power. But his
And
real
then it's
goal,
just like, boom, I'm gonna do it. Good
yeah,
deal.
everyone
I'll
was
take it.
on board with it right away.
Yeah.
But one of like the main things is his goal was eventually to kind of sell humans as weapons, you
Yes. To
know,
the rest of the
to the rest of the
galaxy.
galaxy. So he has like an unlimited supply of humans
Yes.
and he'd control the flow. So
And the
he'd
science
become,
patrol had that figured out.
yeah,
Meanwhile, the rest of the world didn't. And they eventually end up pulling off a heist to steal the technology from him.
yeah,
Right as he's about to turn it over, they steal it, and that's when it lands the science patrol in trouble for stealing that technology. But they ended up getting cleared. Um, but while all that happens, Ultraman ends up having a big fight with Mephiles. Mephiles goes big.
you get to see his real alien form.
You get to see his real alien form, and that fight's pretty cool. But then it abruptly stops when Mephiles sees Zofi standing behind Ultraman during the fight. He's pretty much like, "Hey man, I'm good here. You good? You won this. Another day, another battle." And he just pretty much like, and they're like, "Oh, that's it." And then later, Zofi confronts Ultraman and is like, "Listen, man." He's like, "What you were saying before. These humans could be used as weapons." He's like, "You shouldn't have done what you did." He's like, "You broke a rule by fusing with a human." And this is when episode 4 comes into play. And that is the destruction of Earth. It turns out Zofi is the one that's going to release Zeton instead of being an alien, is a super weapon that's pretty much just going to absolutely just obliterate Earth. And the whole last act is basically them trying to figure out how to stop Zeton. And Zofi launches into space. Ultraman goes to attack it, but he kind of gets shot down like immediately and doesn't stand a chance. And the movie kind of progresses on, and they're kind of like trying to calculate how they could possibly stop this thing. And Ultraman is stumped because obviously he couldn't stop it, and the weapon's just getting stronger.
Yeah,
And
the,
they pretty much are like down to the last minute on this.
yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like, okay, like I'm trying to think of like a movie that had like a similar ending to it, but essentially by everybody fighting so hard to survive, Zofi kind of realizes like, you know what, we don't have to do this.
But they did still do it.
Oh no,
Like, well,
he
after the
stopped
fact. So,
Zedin
well, Ultraman stops Zedin by,
sacrificing himself.
yeah, he sacrificed himself because the humans figured out in order for him to stop it, if he hit his beta capsule again a second time, it would warp the blast from Zedin's whatever Zedin. Zedin's the
Yeah.
weapon,
Yeah.
and into another dimension while taking Ultraman with it, and that's what he does. He sacrifices himself, and then Zofi kind of comes in and is like, "All right, man, I get it." He's like, "These humans are resilient." He's like, "We're gonna let them live," like you said. Um, and I guess he takes Ultraman back, kind of like the end of the original series.
So it's really confusing, and they leave it very open. So
Yes.
Ultraman says like, I want to give my life force so that you know
Yes.
he can live a normal life,
Yes.
and
He
I don't
pretty
want to
much.
take his human life away
Yeah.
so that I could live. Um,
So he pretty much Shinji's back on Earth,
yeah, and they show
but
Shinji,
is
but
he 100% Shinji, or does he still have Ultraman in him?
yeah, that's like
It's
the
kind of like left to like you to decide, or maybe there'll be a sequel.
maybe,
But he doesn't have the ability to transform into Ultraman anymore. That's
yeah,
clear.
yeah, that's very clear. But that's like the one like confusing part because it's just like you want more because you're like,
Yes.
what's that? I guess they want to leave it open for interpretation,
Yeah.
but it's just like one of those things where you're just like, oh man, like I really want
I mean, like
to,
the aliens are aware Earth's there now, which is
yes,
clear.
yeah. So
So there's definitely room for a sequel, but who's going to protect it? And Sophie's kind of like, well, the humans were able to figure this out, so they could figure that out. But I'm really hoping they send another Ultra to defend Earth.
yeah, I'm thinking that it's possible that we can get like a sequel or like even like a comic book or just something
Yeah, I
that
really want more.
yeah this one like really left me like, oh, I want to see like just more like what's gonna happen.
Yeah, yeah.
um but yeah, that's kind of the review of the movie.
That's the story. Yeah,
um
great, absolutely fantastic movie. Like I said, this and Troll have been like in recent years two of the best movies I've seen. I better than anything else I've seen in theater. I mean, I haven't seen much in theater in a while because there really hasn't been anything that great.
no, there's not.
And I was one of those people that didn't think it would happen, but I think we have a superhero fatigue issue going on, and I didn't think it would happen, but I think they're just getting lazy with those movies, honestly.
Yeah, like honestly, Ant-Man, I'll see it when it's on Disney Plus.
Yeah. It's come to the point where I'm not rushing to the theater for
Like
those
Spider-Man was
big
cool.
blockbuster movies.
Spider-Man was
That's
the
the
last
peak.
one.
That was the peak.
Yeah. Well, like Endgame was the peak, and then that was like the little hump.
Yeah.
But I don't know what they can do to kind of make turn it around.
No.
And the problem is like that's what's sucking up the box office right now. Like nobody's gonna go see any movie right now. Like Avatar. Apparently, it made its money back barely.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I just don't know.
Yeah. The box office is slowly coming back. I'm excited to see the Meg 2 this summer.
Yeah,
I
Meg
want to
2 I'm
definitely see
excited
that.
for. Like if I had time, like I would have went to go see like Bandies of like Banshees of Inisheer, like that Colin Farrell movie that looked good. But like there's just not that much stuff coming out
Yeah.
that's interesting. We got to get back to the point where like good movies are being made again, and I think like A24 is getting on board with a lot of stuff, and their movies are really good, and they're getting a lot of hype around them. So hopefully that leads to like more innovation soon. But
Yeah.
you know, as far as like kaiju stuff going, you're gonna have to look at your indie projects. We are getting Godzilla movies. We are getting a bunch of Netflix things coming out. Apple
Apple
TV,
TV. So,
the
yeah.
sequel movie. We're getting the comic books. So it's a lot of things to keep forward for.
Oh, tons of comic books. I'm still mind blown by the amount of comic books.
Yeah.
I picked up that one that I was telling you yesterday that it just ended today. Kodoja, I believe it's called.
Oh yeah.
And apparently it's been around for like 10 years.
Yeah.
I don't
Never
know
heard
how I never
anybody.
heard of it.
Yeah.
Zornow did a copy for one of the first issues, so I was like, all right, I'll get the whole collection. I got in on that Kickstarter. Luckily, I just went on a whim yesterday to look on Kaiju on Kickstarter, and boom, there it was, with 30 hours left to go. So I got in on that just in time. But yeah, the comic books are really where it's at right now. And we can only hope for some more home releases, and it seems like a lot of these, like the Lake. There's a lot of like those Asian import monster movies, creature features.
Yeah.
That's 65. Was it 65, 62? The
Adam Driver movie.
Yes. You tried really hard not to say Kylo Ren.
Yeah. Yeah. So just for future reference, the actor that played Mephiles, which is the best actor in the whole movie, he's also the Japanese dub voice actor for Jiminy Cricket in Pinocchio 2022. So one of his favorites. When you wish upon a star, one of my favorite sayings.
Almost a kaiju movie.
Almost, maybe. But maybe. Yeah, I think that's it for this episode. We're 2 hours in. So if you guys are still listening, thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for other videos. We appreciate everything, and we'll see you guys next time.